I saw his hand press down on the boy's neck before anyone could move. That picture is still inside my head. His fingers were thick, and the boy's face turned the color of dust. I was standing close enough to smell the king's wine on his breath. My name is Daniel. I was 17 the year all of this happened. I lived in a small village called Green Rock. We were farmers, hunters, and fishermen. Life was not rich, but it was quiet. Then King Samuel came. At first, he was not called king. He was only a strong man with many friends. He helped people fix broken walls. He gave gifts to the elders. Everyone thought he was kind. But after some time, his voice became hard. He wanted people to bring him goats, chickens, and bags of rice. He said it was for the good of the village. If anyone refused, he sent his men to take it by force. I worked near him because I was a helper in his yard. I swept the ground, carried water, and cleaned his chair. He liked to drink wine while I worked. When he was happy, he would sing. But when the wine grew strong in his head, his eyes turned dark. One morning, we heard shouting outside the yard. A farmer named Peter had kept some yams for his sick wife. He could not give them all to the king's storehouse. Samuel sent 2 guards to bring him. They dragged Peter into the yard. He fell on the ground, his shirt torn. The king looked at him and laughed. He said, "You hide food from me." Peter begged, "My wife is dying. I kept a few yams so she can eat." The king stood up slowly. He walked to where I was standing. He picked up a stick that I had been using to clear leaves. He walked back and hit Peter with the flat side. Peter's cry was sharp, like a goat in a trap. I felt my hands shake. That was the first time I saw someone hurt someone with no reason. After that day, everything changed. He began to call himself the king. He built a big chair in the square. He said everyone must bow before they speak to him. Some laughed at first, but they soon learned it was not a joke. One evening, I met my friend Ada by the river. She was holding her little brother, Mark. She said, "Daniel, I am scared. He wants to take our land for his cattle." I told her, maybe he will forget. But inside, I knew he would not. A few days later, soldiers came to Ada's hut. They pushed her mother aside. They said the land now belonged to the king. They broke the fence and led the cattle through the small garden. Ada cried until her voice broke. Her brother held her skirt and looked confused. Soon the king made a rule that every young man must walk in his new palace. He said we must cut wood and carry stones. We walked from morning until night. If anyone slowed down, a guard would whip him. I saw one boy fall. They left him on the ground while we kept walking. My body was tired every day, but what hurt most was seeing people lose hope. Old men stopped telling stories at night. Mothers walked with their heads down. Even children did not laugh much anymore. Then came the day of the festival. The king wanted a big feast. He told us to bring food from every house. Goats, chicken, rice, palm wine, all of it. Some people had nothing left to give. But they feared him, so they gave anyway. That night, the palace was full of noise. Drums beat fast. The king danced with his guards. He drank more wine than I had ever seen. Suddenly, he stood up and shouted, "I am the lion. No one can stand against me." He pointed at a young boy near the fire. The boy was Peter's son. Someone pulled him forward and pressed a heavy hand on his neck. He looked around as if daring someone to stop him. No one moved. That was the moment I saw his hand pressing the boy's neck before anyone could move. I wanted to jump forward, but my legs froze. The boy's mother screamed. Someone laughed, then let the boy fall to the ground. The child coughed and crawled away. After that, we all knew he would do anything. Weeks passed. The king's hunger for power grew. He demanded more food, more cattle, more wine. He sent men to search huts at night. If they found a hidden bag of corn, they poured it on the ground and burned it. One night, he ordered the huts near the river to be burned. He said those people were slow in giving him their harvest. Flames lit the sky. Smoke filled the air. Children ran crying. I saw Ada running with Mark in her arms. Her hair was covered in ash. She stumbled and almost fell. I helped her to the edge of the forest. We stayed there until the fire died. Mark was sleeping in her arms, but he did not wake up again. Ada held him tight and whispered his name again and again. Tears ran down her face. I could not stop my own tears. After that night, I knew I had to leave. If I stayed, I would die like the others. A small group of us planned to escape. We met in secret behind an old tree when the moon was thin. We carried dry bread and water in small bags. We waited for a night when the guards were drunk. The chance came during another feast. Samuel was drinking and laughing with his soldiers. We crept out quietly, moving through tall grass. My heart beat so loud I feared it would betray us. But the guards were busy singing. We walked all night, crossing streams and thorny bushes. The moon gave us little light, but we kept going. When the first cock crowed, we were far from the palace. We looked back and saw smoke rising over Green Rock. The place that once felt like home looked small and broken. I thought of my mother, who had refused to leave because she believed the king would change. I thought of Mark, who would never run again. I felt pain inside me, but also a little hope. Years have passed since that escape. I now live in another village where the hills are green and the river sings. I work as a carpenter. I build chairs, tables, and doors. I laugh sometimes, but the shadows of those days still follow me. At night, when the world is quiet, I remember. I see the king's hand on the boy's neck. I hear the crack of sticks and the cry of people. I see Ada sitting with her brother in her lap, staring at the sky. Some people say King Samuel died alone. They say his guards left him when he became sick. They say he called out for water, but nobody came. When I heard that news, I felt no joy. Only a deep sadness that one man's greed could destroy so many lives. I tell this story so others will know. So they will see how a heart can turn dark if no one stops it. So they will remember the faces of those who could not run. And whenever I see a child smile, I whisper a prayer that no leader will ever again put his hand on a boy's neck the way I saw that day.